Thank you, Matt. Last week, we traveled to Athens, Georgia, after winning 8 consecutive games, and realized that it was our best start in 23 years to a season, which was exciting. And then running up against a really good Georgia team wasn't so exciting after the game. They jumped on us early, led 10-0 out of the gates, and we missed our first several shots, fell behind. Got it back to 9 at halftime after being down by 17. One thing about this group, they're never going to lay down. They're going to continue to come back and fight. Got it to 2 at the 15-minute mark of the second half, and it was a 5-point game when we missed an open three-pointer. Frank missed one off a set play, top of the key, and they go down, and Giada, for those guys, not a great shooter, hits a 3 for Georgia. So instead of being a 2-point game, it's back to 8. The game got pushed away from us right there. We were in foul trouble early. Bryce had 2 in the first minute and a half of the game. He had to sit for a little bit. We chose to play him in the first half with 3. Fortunately, he was able to collect a career-high 18 rebounds and play 34 minutes in the game. So the foul issue, or foul problems, did not become a major issue for us. We did not shoot the ball well. We continued to try to drive the ball into their bigs. They blocked 11 shots. So shoot 28% on the road, you're going to have a hard time winning, especially when 11 of them never see the rim. We did battle on the glass, as we talked about, and did some good things in that game. Turned around and went back to Atlanta that night, got up early the next morning and flew in and practiced here for UNO. Had a good practice on Thursday afternoon, and then practiced Friday here, and left and got over to New Orleans about 9 o'clock Friday night. Had a good team meeting, good breakfast next morning, went straight to the gym, got some shots up, and played okay against UNO. Not as well as we'd like to play, but we're able to pull out a win. And it's nice to know you can go on the road and not play your best and win a basketball game in college basketball. Big game for UNO. Hopefully it's not the last game of this series. We have requested that they continue the series, and they haven't given us an answer yet, so it might not work. But we took a good shot from their group. They've got a senior-oriented team and a couple of really good players, and they played well. We struggled, fell behind in the second half by double possessions there late in the game with about 6 minutes to go, and then finished on a nice run the last 3 minutes, 8-0 run, without Frank Bartley, our leading scorer, out on the court, who had fouled out. So a lot of positives there. In that game, it's kind of interesting to note, our junior class has really led us in scoring. They scored 21 points in this game. Our freshman class scored 24 points in the game. And then our senior class had 27. That being Jay Wright. He really put us on his back and willed us to a win, played super. He's playing with a lot of confidence. And then Scotty Plaisance, our sophomore class, had 4 as well to round out our scoring. But we didn't get it from the juniors, what we've been accustomed to getting. And Jay Wright and the freshmen stepped up. Scotty stepped up and gave us some energy when we needed it. So favorite play of the game to me was a pick-and-roll situation, a set play that Jay drug the defender, the post player, with him an extra step. It was probably about 11 minutes to go in the game, hit Bryce in the middle of the floor for a nice layup. A play that we've been able to get this year. We struggled getting that play last year. So we're getting better in some areas. We have to execute better. We let their pressure bother us a little bit. And we'll have to do a better job offensively against Pepperdine tomorrow night. They've got a good team, and they're coming in here after a 8-day layoff, 9-day layoff for exams, and they'll be ready to play.
Does Pepperdine have anybody you know from when you guys played last?
Yeah, Murray's their leading scorer. Tim, he's a very good player, very good offensive player, shoots 50% from 3 just about. Well, he does. He's 21 for 40. And he's their best offensive player. He played last year, and the point guard, Major, played last year. Both those guys are really good players. They lost a couple of good players, like we did, but they've got a good nucleus back. And they finished 4th in the West Coast Conference the last few years. They've had a lot of success against St. Mary's and BYU, but they struggle with Gonzaga. That's the one they can't catch. But a very good conference, and they're coming off the best couple of years they've had in the last dozen years or so.
Coach, you said in post-game after the UNO game that whenever the Privateers were actually leading at one of the timeouts, Jay Wright told you, Coach, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm not going to let us lose. Is that just kind of the type of player he is?
Yeah, exactly. And he came over. It was during a free throw, Ryan. It wasn't a timeout. But he said, Coach, we're not going to lose this game. I'm not going to let it happen. And that's his spirit and his will. And fortunately, his skill backed that up the other day. He made a couple of really difficult shots and played with a tremendous amount of heart. And he willed us to victory. You know, it's nice to know when you don't play your best, one of your players can step up, and that's what seniors do.
Pepperdine, what really concerns you about what they do? What are you going to try to take away from them?
Well, they're a very good offensive team. We're going to have to play better defense than we played. Thank goodness we played solid defense the last few minutes of the game. Was a little bit surprised by UNO using a timeout, getting the ball to half court and called a timeout with 36 seconds to go. Instead of attacking the basket, they helped us, and then they got an illegal screen call. So our three-point defense was good. They helped us a little bit, but we have to carry that defense over into this Pepperdine game. This needs to be our best game defensively. That's our goal.
Were you pleased to see how many Cajun fans came out at Lakefront Arena that might have been football fans, and do you think you convinced some of them to come see you back here at the Cajun Dome?
We certainly hope so. As we said after the game, all the games that are in Lakefront Arena are usually exciting and like that when they're going to go down to the wire. And we had a great group of season ticket holders, rebounders, club that went to the game and followed us like they do to McNeese or wherever we go, Monroe, short distances. But we had an extra large contingent of Ragin Cajun fans that were in for the bowl game. And we want to get those folks back to Lakefront Arena in March for the Sun Belt tournament.
You said Pepperdine was coming off a layoff. Do you like the idea of a long layoff before you start conference play, or would you rather keep it rolling?
Meaning how, Tim, as far as the...
You got a long layoff after Pepperdine before
Right,
Arkansas State.
right.
Do you like the idea of that?
I think it's hard to schedule. You have to schedule when you can. Sometimes it's worked best for us to play around this time. That'll be the 20th, I guess, and then we come back, we'll have, 10, 11 days. And when the guys get to go home, I like for our guys to be able to go home for 3, 4, 5 days. And most of our guys live close enough they're able to do that. And we'll bring them back on Christmas night, and we'll practice on the 26th. So they can spend Christmas at home with their families, which is important. And then we'll have 5 days to prepare for conference. And of course, we'll add some things. We'll do some things, put in some things that we haven't done yet that we really need, that we've been waiting for this time to go back and focus on us and not worry about an individual scout per game. Now, this year's schedule, again, Mike Murphy did a nice job. It's laid out where there are 2 games per week. You look at our schedule, we've been consistent. We've had 2 games every week. I mean, and it hasn't been like that in the past, and I think that's helped us because that's conference play. But I like the way our schedule is compared to Pepperdine, where they've been off and then they have to play. They're playing us, and then they're going to Montana before their break. So they'll go maybe 2 or 3 days right at Christmas, 24th, 25th, 26th, something like that. It'll be their break.
Hey, Coach, lots of guys have been contributing so far this year. Has there been anybody that's really surprised you?
P.J. Hardy shot the ball very well, encouraged by that. Even with a 2 for 7 outing the other day against UNO, he's still shooting over 50% his last 7 games from 3, and done a nice job for us, giving us a boost off the bench. Justin's played about the way that we expect him to. Roy Dell's getting better each time and feeling more confident. So the freshmen have really contributed. Frank got off to a great job scoring the ball after the Minnesota game. He gets 29 at Montana State, and he's able to carry that on. Struggled a little bit recently, and we'll have to get him back on track. And then Jay Wright has scored the ball extremely well for us when we needed it, and I'm really proud. The last 3 games, Jay's 13-1 assist to turnover ratio. And that's something that we really wanted to stress, and he's done a super job of that.
One game left before the start of conference play. You know your team pretty well now. What would you say their strengths are and the weaknesses that you want to address?
The strengths are playing together, sharing the basketball, something we didn't do a good job of at UNO. We tried to go play too much one-on-one. We settled for three-point shots instead of mixing it up. So the chemistry aspect are strengths of ours, and the character of this team. Defensively, we got to get better. I mean, we're last in the league in field goal defense. I told the guys yesterday afternoon in practice that this won't last. At some point in time, we have to get better defensively. We've been preaching it needs to start against Pepperdine. We gave UNO 50% from the field, and I said the next time we give 50% Lakefront Arena, we'll be packing our bags and headed home.
Everybody good? Thank you, Coach.